guys, this is Noelle from Reorg Chats, a vlog talking about all things organized. So today it is episode 2 of Reorg Chats Home Edition, guys. We are here with a fellow mama. I know I talked about this in my little Instagram live last week, but you know, I got to support my fellow moms. I mean, or dads, because I don't want to be biased. Angelina Calpelpo from Organic Good Market. Thank you so much, Angelina, for your time, for these amazing products, which today's episode was brought to you by Organic Good Market. And like, I became obsessed. Like I tried it, I purchased some, and then we got these amazing, you definitely sampled us with some really extra goodies to really try all the brands that you carry at Organic Good Market. So again, thank you again for your time. How are you? I'm sure you're staying safe. I know that you're not just staying safe, you're staying very clean and organic, and this is really, really exciting today. So guys, Angelina, as I said, this season is all about home, how to make our home more functional, most importantly, how to make our home more greener. I think especially as a result of the pandemic, if we've learned anything, it's our surrounding is so, and our aesthetic is not just important from a visual perspective, but from an internal perspective. How does it affect us? How does it affect our mind? How does it affect our soul and our bodies? And to continue on to that conversation, Angelina we're going to have a discussion about making our homes greener. I don't think that it should be something that should be taken as a form of a trend. I think it's very important. We've seen it now specifically at the height of this pandemic. And on a global scale, whether you are a skeptic or you're 100% gun-ho, it's the reality. And we're a big part of that. And this is what this discussion is about, how to help and reduce that impact in our home and do little things, because it's a gradual process. It's not like throw everything away, because those things that we have in our current home do have a cost and a price to them. And these are challenging times, so it's not a time to be wasteful. But there's steps and things that we can do to gradually transition to a more greener home. And what does that mean? All right, Angelina, so if you want to tell us a little bit about, not a little bit, a lot about, I love that all your products are, tell us about the products that you carry, why Organic Market, and then we'll get into that. So again, thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. So I started Organic Good Market as a way to utilize my time. I was laid off during the pandemic, like a lot of mothers and fathers, primary caretakers, right? The one person in the house that does the brunt of the parenting, and that was me. And my daughter has been remote learning, and so I knew this, layoff period and getting back to work was going to be a challenge, and it still is. I also wanted to demonstrate my capabilities as a digital marketer. So with the two intertwined, I decided to create a local e-commerce site. And the goal was to put together my hobby of like being, eco-friendly, a tree hugger, and also being very tapped into what's safe for me to eat, drink, put on my skin, put on my body, and to also want to share that with other people as a way to meet others and to be, helpful to the community. So that's kind of how Organic Good Market started. And of course, it wasn't an easy process because it can quickly become an expensive hobby. A lot of the brands have minimums, and a lot of the brands also have product minimums. There's a brand minimum and a product minimum. So sometimes the products I do want to buy, they're inaccessible to me because of those limits and minimums. So it's really tricky to find brands that are willing to work with you brand new, and work with you e-commerce, because a lot of the eco-friendly brands, e-commerce is sort of an oxymoron, right? So it was tricky, and took a while to get my ducks in a row, but it's really important to me to have a very transparent site. So it took a lot. There's ingredients listed, there's instructions how to use it. And I wanted to make sure I cascaded that information on to the consumer so they can be in the best position to buy online. So that's kind of how we started.
And I love how, just elaborating a little bit about how, like, when I went on, and we'll get into that a little bit. I mean, you've educated me on some questions as we prep for today's interview. But it's, like I said, it's a learning process. But I love how the logos that we're familiarized when it comes to like cruelty free, when we see the bunny, we kind of know what that means. And I love how you have these icons, which a lot of us recognize, even if we may not know exactly what they mean, it's identifiable. So immediately when you open up Organic Good Market, the logos are right there.
Yeah.
So, and I love the awareness, not just from a sustainability perspective, also from a human rights, like you have the women owned. So I love that. I really love that. Because it's easy. Like, we're icons, right? We live on apps. Everything is an app. And before you start reading everything, I love that you already have it. So you almost have it like a phone. It's almost like apps of, like, you know. So from a visual perspective, your site is very user knowledge friendly.
Thank you. I totally agree. It was a time putting together an e-commerce site.
Yeah.
I really wanted to, I didn't want to be the person that said this product is safe, right, without having the backing. And while these certifications are also expensive and a privilege for a lot of these companies that can afford to get them, it is my way of, putting a seal of approval on these products. And so, the eco-friendly is a big part of how I curate products. I do make sure they're eco-friendly from when I order to them when they arrive at my door. But then also having the other things that are, my definition of sustainable, and so for me, it's also buying from companies and in an ethically sourced way, and by companies that pay fair wages, not minimum wages, fair wages.
Yes.
And so,
a 360, which I love that, right? It's not just preach, but practice what you preach.
Exactly. That was the whole ration between that. And I really wanted to pick, and that's how I chose the products. I started with 1% for the planet and B Corp certified. And then I went to Made Safe and EWG, and I continued down that process of finding companies and all of these amazing certifications. They also have their own websites. You can go to Fair Trade certified and you can find products that have the certification. You can go to Cruelty Free or Female Project. Yeah, all of these certifications are, it's really a cohort of companies that meet or exceed the minimum to become certified and then go through that process. And they're findable, searchable, and that's really how I found them. So it was, some of it was, emailing B Corp US, because all the products that I buy are made in the US. It's very important to me.
Yeah.
And so they were able to actually give me send me a spreadsheet with all of the US B Corp certified companies.
Oh, wow.
And that helped me a little bit. 1% for the planet didn't have that. So I had to actually go on the website and search through hundreds. Wow. And of course
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I love Jersey made too. So we do have 3 or 4 products that are also made in New Jersey.
I love how you have this big advocacy, not just from a sustainability and from a eco-green perspective, but from a local perspective. Because we here at Reorg, obviously we service many US cities, 4 to be exact. So sometimes being local for us, it's tri-city local. But I love that especially during this time, you realize the worth and the value that we bring to our local businesses. And I think that's so important. When I came across your site and being a fellow mama within the same group of moms and geography, how did that started? I mean, I know that, from us knowing each other from the same moms groups, that you're big and you've always been an advocate, and through your consulting businesses and marketing outlets, that you've always done things on a local level. But what is that? Because, is that something that just came natural, or you've just wanted to just do something during this time? Like, that always highlight it.
always came natural for me. I love the concept of keep it local.
Yeah.
Obviously, it allows us to, to keep our carbon footprints and emissions down. And so, yeah, one of the biggest ways to live green is to do things local, to walk to the grocery store, to do those, and anti-Amazon, and buying online, because it's, it really, there's no way that people can make a fair wage in doing something that quickly, right? And so, yeah, and so, it's for me, I mean, I just feel like, it was always, I always wanted to support local. I always wanted to get to know my community more. And this winter, earlier this winter, I did a holiday outdoor market.
Yeah, I saw that.
With Main Street Pops. And it was my first market, and it was cold. It was like 30 degrees. We were outside for 6 hours. And I had a great day. And that's why I knew I needed to get my products into a public setting rather than in my closet. And so, yeah, and so it was a great event. And, I do love at that event, I actually featured 4 local products, including a chocolate maker in Union City, which is also organic, and a perfume maker and a card maker in Hoboken, which are eco-friendly. And so it was great to share that day with them and support each other rather than, it's really about collaborating over competing, So.
Right. And I think that's a very big, I think it's within parenting networks, but just in general, I think this whole time, and I think it's gonna continue, has really dug into our community. There's always been a sense of community, right? And people coming togetherness. But now, since we're kind of forced to be together, right? We've talked about it, how we, within our group, there's subgroups, right? And we've all chosen, okay, we're gonna get together with these 4 people, because look, the reality is that we as human beings, we need to connect. This is great, but there's nothing, nothing can replicate as if you and I were in person, right? There's just something about that, you feed off each other's vibe, right? But again, technology has been great. So this is good. We'll work with what we have, but nothing beats the human connection, right? That one-on-one in person. That just starts.
It's vital to our, being able to thrive as humans. We really do thrive on interaction and human interaction. And so, we're so lucky that we're surrounded by our kids, and there are a lot of people that are actually really alone because they are by themselves.
Right.
And so it's great that we do have this medium, but, I'm sure we all can't wait until we can get back to normal and, and hug, a neighbor or, shake hands with a business person,
But with that said, I mean, that's why we started the vlog, right? Because we were kind of like, how can we do our part, as if, creating the vlog would make a monumental difference. But it was more like, how do we can connect more with our clients, with our friends, with our family, which we're already connecting, but we're also finding each other where those of us who connected on a personal perspective, had never connected on a business level. You know what I mean? Like, we found ourselves in within our circle that we belong to of moms and parents group, within the sub circle that, we all belong to, with one of my circles that, one of the moms we've known, that she's an amazing practitioner within the health and wellness arena, Michelle Warba, who will be on the episode, and we talked about in our chat. And she's an amazing holistic. She does great body work and mind work. And she pretty much, offered her services in one of our just like, hey girl, how are you? Like one of our Zooms. And it was something that we never thought about before. Like we did. It's like, oh, Angelina has a great, but now actually as a result of this, there's this like, oh, I've known of you, and we've been in the same like spaces for 2 years. And obviously now I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like we talked, and I was like, I came across this thing, and you were like, oh, that's mine. And I was like, oh my God. So yes, there's this pride, and also from a business perspective, it's awesome, right? Because it's like, I didn't know you were doing that, or you didn't know I was doing this. And there's this big supportive, and it goes back to sort of environment, like carbon footprint, but on a personal level, right? Keep it full 360 in your community. Obviously, there's things and clients and demands that we have that are outside of our, I like to say 3-block radius, technically speaking. But we are also in a geography where we're very privileged to have we're within close proximity, right? That if we needed to walk to each other, we can, right? Living in Metro New York City, that's just the advantage that we have. So from an environmental, again, perspective, we have some amazing people that live within our area, very talented from all different areas, and circles, and that are big advocates. And I think that our area is also very heightened on, especially New York Metro, as much as people say, oh my God, it's dirty and it's this and it's that. We also have a very big heightened awareness. And I think because we're so condensed, we're so urban per se, urban suburban, as I like to call it, that we also have a heightened awareness of our environmental impact, our footprint, right? Even though our policies and our politicians may not always coincide, but we do take it, right? But we do take it upon ourselves to create then grassroots projects, or do our own advocacy initiatives for that, like what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe on a political sense, our governors and our senators and our mayors will say, well, you can't do this, and we're not recycling. Let's say a couple of years ago in New York, they weren't recycling certain plastics because the city's no longer doing that. We all know that was a matter of, it all came down to dollars. We've had the same thing, New Jersey and Connecticut. But then people like you take it upon themselves and say, well, we can go around that.
Yeah, let's get rid of plastic, period, because only 7% of the world's plastics are actually recycled.
Really?
So there's a problem in recycling plastic. So the next thing is to use something other than plastic. And, these, plain products is an example of that. Refill. And, I always say, I don't want to buy packaging. I want to buy product.
Right.
So get me to the product. I don't care about the shiny box it comes in, and I don't care about, aesthetics. I care about what's inside
the quality
the bottle and what is going to go on my skin, or, and so, so that was a real teller point for me. And so I just buy as little to almost no plastic. And I definitely don't buy single-use plastics. Those are plastics that you buy. The only intention is to go right into the recycle bin. And sometimes it's a lid on a pudding cup or something, and that lid is not recyclable, right? So it could be film on something. That film's not recyclable. And so single-use plastics are a problem. And so I try to buy glass, stainless steel, and refill as much as I can. I bring my mason jars, to the grocery store, and I refill. I don't buy another bag of almonds. I refill my mason jar with the almonds that you can buy at the store, as an example. So I buy bulk when I can as well too, and then I divvy up, which is a goal of ours.
That's where the farmers market is better, for example, than going to some, and so you raise a good point, and please correct us if I'm wrong and educate us a little bit about, because sometimes we think, oh, I shop at Trader Joe's and I stop at Whole Foods, and that's great. And so your subconscious is like, I'm doing better because, but your practices, it's really what determines our carbon footprint. Because to your point, like you said, if you're buying a jar, let's just say this bar soap is a jar of bars of almonds, right? It's every time you're doing it single use, versus if they have the option of refillable where you can bring your own container and just refill it. It's right. Just because you bought it at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or any natural, more conscientious supermarket or health food store doesn't mean that it has less.
Yeah, and I do shop some at Whole Foods, but let's not forget that Whole Foods is owned now by Amazon. So I'm sure you'll notice a change. Although there is some locals, which is great.
Yeah.
So I shop in like a variety of different stores, you know, because it's impossible for me to shop just in one store. And I do some of my own sourcing, and I try to buy bulk, so I'm buying less often. But it's also expensive to buy bulk because you're paying ahead, right? And you'll use over time, which is great. And that's really like the goal of, you know, Organic Good Market, is to really be a place where people can group shop and benefit from buying good stuff. Yeah, very cooperative. That's really the, you know, goal of it. Is that
like
people
I can buy like this in this travel size, which is, what is this, 2 ounces,
2.5 ounces,
5 ounces.
Yeah.
Right. But then, of course, this is great for traveling and for every day. But right, with a family of 4 or even a family of 2, this will go like nothing. So, right, you'll have the 8 ounce, but I can just take my one-time purchase of Planet products and you guys can refill it for.
Correct. Yeah. So the normal size, that's a travel size / sample size, 2.5 ounce. And then they also sell 16 ounce. And then the next step is for me to buy 5 gallons and refill your product over time.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the process of it. But Plain Products actually takes that packaging back. They sanitize it and they reuse it.
Oh, I love it.
If you prefer that, you know, you can shop direct. I'm an affiliate of Plain Products. Besides being a retailer for the brand, I'm also an affiliate. So I can share my affiliate link and you could shop directly with them if you'd like, you know, and they recommend not to send back, just to recycle every, you know, few bottles to make it as conscious as possible. And again, I'm happy to accept the bottles as part of a recycling program, because some people might not want to do the refill, but they might want to just stay with the brand, and they can also do that, and I could recycle
so
for
where
them.
Can they, so if I use these bottles, right?
Yes.
And obviously I like the brand. I like, you got me forever. I'm like, I love it. I agree. You know, I'm that person that would go to Whole Foods and order, and I am that person, I will admit, that goes to Amazon and finds a more sustainable butter. But then you really don't do any good by purchasing everything through Amazon, which we all know. So if somebody wanted to, they love the brand, but they want to just get a bigger size, or for whatever reason, they have their own like personal travel things, can they just drop these, like coordinate with you and your team and drop these off? Or would OGM just, you guys send us the URL for people to get like a pre-printed label and put it on a box and send it back to them? Or is there like a drop off?
Yeah. So there's 2 ways. So the products are available in the travel size, and then the regular size is 16 ounces. And obviously the 16 ounce comes with a pump. Right. Because you know, in the shower, you're going to need to pump the shampoo and pump the body wash.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, customers can also buy, you know, hopefully with my affiliate link on the Plain Products directly, and they can contact Plain Products for a shipping label, no cost to the consumer, or they can give it to me, and I'm happy to take on that responsibility alongside maybe saving up a few more bottles to make it worthwhile before I ship back to Plain Products. So there's no cost for that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then lastly, if you want to stay with the brand, we recommend, and do the refill program, we recommend you buy 2, so that when one is empty, you let us know that it needs to be refilled, and we'll, you know, prepare a refill for you and then swap it out on your next purchase. So there'll be an option for a refill when we get to that point. So
on your list of, on your icons, I noticed there was something, and this is something that as a fellow mom, I'm sure you probably get this question a lot. Kid safe. So for me, kid safe. So obviously there's animal free. Let me just go over the list real quick, just to reiterate. Animal free, dye free, paraben free, biodegradable, which is very important, fair trade, sulfate free. And then there's kid safe. To me, kid safe means that, as you shouldn't be drinking a bottle of hand sanitizer, but things happen. If your 2-year-old or your baby drinks a sip, they're not going to die. Yeah. And I know that's dramatizing it, but you got to put it dramatized. Is that what that means, or absolutely not?
No, I mean, all of our products are safe for the whole family. So all the products that we sell are safe for your family to use. There's baby proofing is a whole separate conversation.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, so any, kinds of products that are in your house, should always be, high away from children and safe in that regard.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for me, the way I look at it is really, I don't look at it differently.
Okay.
But what's safe for my daughter is safe for me.
Right.
And so that's the way I look at it. It's not just for women, but in general, you want to stay away from aluminum. Aluminum is linked in breast cancer, which can happen in men and women. So there are lots of, things to, shy away from. Okay. And, to be careful with, as not only as a parent, a mom or dad, but also for children as well. So I think there's lots of things that I look at it as the same. If it's safe for my daughter, it's safe for me. If it's safe for me, then it's safe enough for my daughter. And a lot of companies talk about like the dirty, dozen, which means stay away from, products, ingredients in products. And aluminum's one of them. But, like mineral oil is another. And just like plastic, it clogs your pores, right? I'm trying to think of a couple, all the products that I sell are paraben free. And,
a lot in our shampoos, right?
Yeah, a ton. And
yeah.
There's not a lot of regulation on skincare in the United States. That's not a secret. Yeah. And there are a lot of states that do it better, like California. Yeah. And obviously there's a lot of countries where there's hundreds, if not thousands of products that are allowed in the US that are banned in other countries. Right. So, I
know Europe does a better job than we do, sadly, when it comes to this.
Yes, they definitely do. A lot of, other countries, you don't necessarily need to eat organic because everything's organic.
Yes.
Things aren't genetically modified, and there isn't pesticides and things that basically come into our food and into our products, like formaldehyde, right? So there's a lot of definitely a lot of things to stay away from in products, and I think that's why it's great that I really keep that in mind when I'm looking for products, and adding those certifications helps me to really feel that I'm in a position to, to make an impact by really making sure that it goes through our filter.
Yeah.
And I love that, on the site, on the very bottom of every brand page is all of the certifications, and it's a link to, for plain products, it's a link to their cruelty-free and their Leaping Bunny and their PETA certified, right? So it's, it's amazing that I just want people to know that I'm backing up sort of the information that I'm putting in there. So,
no, and I love that there's an educational element, because again, back to sort of earlier in the discussion, that there's a big gap of, people get very sort of like confused with organic versus natural versus non-GMO versus, I think the natural and organic, people sometimes get it, I don't want to say confused, but it's not as transparent as you're thinking natural, automatically it's organic, it's non-GMO, and it's all the items list that we, it meets all the certifications that you just talked about, which is not the case, as you and I both know, and many of us that will be listening to this. So it's very important to educate ourselves on what does it mean and those effects on it, and what it has in our body and our homes. I think that with everything, we'll include a list to all the links that Angelina mentioned, as far as to being able to. Is there a particular app that you use? Just not to sidetrack.
I use a ton of apps and they're all on the site. I mean, I use Think Dirty is a great app, and they will rate products and the lower the number, obviously you aim for zero, the safest, the product. And it's actually not just for brands, but it's also for products specific. And but like on my phone, I have a ton of apps that I use on a regular basis as I'm screening brands. And I mean, I have the cruelty-free app, I have the bunny-free app, I have a non-GMO app. I also have EWG Verified's app.
Okay.
And there's a new app that I've been using for a while now called Good On You, which is wonderful. And Too Good, so Good On You is great. I just started using that. There's really many.
One of your top 2 favorites, just from a perspective of not just checking your home products, but just in general of how to like check your air quality of your home, how to like check certain things, because obviously it's not just as you stated and as organic good market. I love that you don't just offer for your beauty, but you also offer a big selection of cleaning products, which is a big area that you guys have of inventory. For example, like Mama Suds, love the name, like that name.
Yeah.
Like, this is an awesome company. And you automatically are like, you're supporting a small business that, of course, this person probably, obviously, a mother.
Yes, she is.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, she's a mother. A lot of the brands I work with are women owned, and I feel really good about that. It wasn't specifically how I chose them.
Right.
But yeah, Mama Sud started as a cloth diaper laundering product and quickly expanded. If you can get a cloth diaper clean, you can get anything clean.
I don't know, because I was that mother that was like, oh no, I need disposable. But I actually grew up on cloth diaper. My mother was like, a cloth diaper, it's just better. You're allergic to everything under the sun when you were a child, and now you're not. But you know, I do have extremely sensitive skin, like most of us do. And I feel that sometimes the sensitive skin comes as a result of, for example, I always say this to people, it is extremely important when you buy something from a store to wash it. It's gonna save you something because it no longer fits, you know, like many of the moms, I don't know if you know, and you might do it with yours. If your daughter has a pair of shoes that doesn't fit anymore, it's in good condition, you can give it to a fellow mom who may have 2 daughters and they're toddlers. You know what I mean? It's all about obviously repurposing and giving and donating. But the same way you'd probably wash the shirt, even if you know that person hygiene is not a question, it's just a thing that you just wash it. And I always say, because I have found over the years that a lot of times, a lot of the allergies and things that we have are results of even things like, oh, it's clean, I bought it at the store, I'm just going to put it on my bed. And that's not the case, because we all know that, especially if you're not buying something that's 100% cotton, like your sheets, for example, just to for clarity for everyone who's listening, your sheets or anything that you put on your skin, they, you know, if it's not 100% of a specific material, and even when it is, when they're synthetic materials, they release all these fumes and gases that sometimes you'll wake up with a rash and you're like, oh, it was my lotion. And it wasn't your lotion. It was, you needed to wash your sheets. Even when we talk about our detergents, right? How they should be dye-free. I love that Mama Sud has like this all-purpose cleaner. And they have this thing called toilet bombs. That was like hilarious to me, the name alone. And I'm like, it's so easy, because for me, I'm like, it's a capsule, you clean it, you use your toilet brush. And it's also, a lot of the products that you offer are also very like easy to use. It's not like I don't know if you did this intentionally, but it's very like spray the brush, we're done, rinse, and we're out. It's not this like scrub-a-dub-dub, which is all great, but it's not as taxing. It really gets in, like if you're using the bleach without using the bleach and the chlorine, and it does the job. It's like 1, 2, 3. So I don't know, again, if you did that intentionally, but the products just did the job. Quick, easy, efficient. So
it's safe and effective. That's really what you need to have. I mean, And I agree with you 100%. I mean, I have an organic mattress,
Right.
and I got it in Hoboken at Avocado, the store called Avocado.
Yeah.
And my sheets and blankets are certified organic from a company that's listed on my site called Gucci.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an amazing, brand. And I agree with you that I always wash things before I use them. And now with COVID-19, craziness. I mean, I actually use rubbing alcohol on packaging, so that I actually clean everything. I don't bring any outside boxes or bags into my home. I mean, I always bring my own bags when I shop.
Yeah.
But I never, if I do get a package delivered, it stays at the door. I just bring the contents in, I wipe it down with alcohol, and I feel a little bit better. But it's amazing how many people actually don't wash things before they wear them, and you don't realize how many people have actually touched them.
Yeah.
And I remember when the pandemic first started, they were like, yeah, wait 3 days before you open anything. And, it's, now there's recommendations based on the type of product, whether, the packaging, whether it's a cardboard or it's plastic, and the recommended times to leave it before touching.
I always say, and this is again reiterating and kudos to you and your brand and your market, that people, you should be washing your hands even if there wasn't a pandemic. You should have try to be greener and more sustainable even if there wasn't a pandemic, people. Like, don't, if this is a reason for you to be more aware, then that's fantastic. It said the reasons for it, but then look, whatever works to make something that's very important, make you more aware, and how we're all like affected as a community, how things affect us on a different level overall. But no, I think you raise a very good point. Right. We should be doing these things and buying animal free and dye free and paraben free and scrubbing things with alcohol, and washing our hands and looking at what we're washing our hands with. Because that's another thing. I love that you carry, again, Plank products, antiseptic hand sanitizer, and I was spraying it even though my hands are clean and I'm at home, because I'm like, the smell of peppermint is just so nice. And it's not harsh, because I know from friends and family, and even for myself, having that sensitive skin, not mocking any other brands with the P, because we don't want to get sued, but we all know that what's in there is not great, and it's all like, I always say it's all a domino effect, right? One product is one product of a line of products, right? So it's like, well, we need to get sadly, we live in a society where something that's like, well, we need the hands to be dried, for then they can buy our moisturizer, for then they can buy our this. And I love how Organic Good Market, it goes back to your motto and your mission of people and planet before profits.
Yep.
Because I'm that person that I will pay $6 for this. And someone will be like, that's so expensive.
It's $5.50.
Right, but in the sense of, they won't pay it, right? So
no,
it's $99 a brand, right? Which nowadays they're more expensive, right? Because of the demand. But guess what? Your hands are dry, so then you got to buy more lotion. Versus if you would have spent a little bit more for something better quality, it makes a difference, right? It's like, oh, well, the mattresses cost a little bit more. A couple of years ago, we also changed to an organic, but really more foam mattress, and it has made such a difference. I've always been, I'm a big thing on air purifiers, and we'll elaborate a little bit in a couple minutes as we wrap up. So I think that so much of like your site is so important, and I know there's many other sites, but when we think about our homes, guys, and making our home more greener, it's a gradual process. It's not just, like I said, something that it's done overnight. But there's so many resources out there, like Organic Good Market, and Angelina and her team, and a list of products to help you, make better choices and make it affordable. I personally found your products to be very affordable, because I always find that sometimes, and I think it's transitioning out, thankfully, but I think that there's this big stigma on, oh, organic is going to be more expensive. It's more, it's, people always would consider it more of, it's a lifestyle choice. It is, but it isn't. Because if you're going to buy
Yeah, I
napkins,
mean,
towels and toilet paper, and you're going to buy dinner napkins and all these different, it's no different than just buy nicer cloths, dishcloths, and use them to wipe your counter, and use more biodegradable napkins and just have one, and don't have dinner napkins versus napkins, just have one set of napkins and that's it. Or have dinner napkins that are washable. Let's keep it traditional, like when you go to the restaurants, right? Because for them, that's what they do. And so what? You got to wash it. It's those little things, guys, that just make a difference, especially when you're home. You know what I mean? Mama Suds is a great brand that you guys carry, which is a perfect example. You don't need a cleaner for this and a cleaner for that. An all-purpose cleaner will do the job, right? So
yeah.
for the toilet, you might need a little bit more an extra little help. But like a brand like the one that you carry, Mama Suds, is a perfect example. You have an all-purpose cleaner, and you have the toilet bombs, because the toilet just needs a little bit more of an extra disinfection than the rest of the home. And so yeah, so that's those are just some of our just wrap up, just blurbs on that. So what's next for Organic Market? I saw that you mentioned a little bit about your collaboration and sharing the space during the holiday market. Are you guys planning to maybe do some foods or some specialty foods that are organic, like partnering up with people, or no?
Right now, like our plans are to stick in the bath, body, and cleaning products, because it's easier. You're not dealing with perishable products and expire, dates. But what's really brewing for us is our services. We consult for families and businesses that are looking to convert to waste-free and plasticless solutions. We offer pop-ups for people that want to shop with family and friends to help everybody be just 1% better. And I have a new service that I'm offering now called Personal Shopping. It's $20 a month, and you basically have me at your fingertips, helping you find things that either you can buy on your own or you can buy through Organic Good Market. So I can give you some alternatives. Say you're not ready to go with the cloths in the kitchen, and you like the paper towels. Well, why don't you use a bamboo-based paper towel, which is tree-free. So there are lots of compromises that you can make. A big one for me is I started composting for the first time, and I live in an apartment with no access to outdoors other than 4 steps down. So that's been really great. And I switched to toothpaste tablets, which is a really easy switch, because
I saw you guys.
Yeah, the tubes are, just so wasteful. And yeah, I mean, some of them, recycle, like Tom's of Maine through TerraCycle, but this is just avoiding, and we also can, sell those in bulk. So you can buy 250 toothpaste tablets, and all you have to do is chew it, like a candy, and add some water to your brush. We sell bamboo toothbrushes. Bamboo, the handles are biodegradable. The actual brush needs to be taken out. We'd be happy to do that for our customers as well. And then it's biodegradable. So it's everything is a process. So for $20 a month, if you're looking to support Organic Good Market, I'm available to help offer a wide array of solutions, not just for my benefit, but for yours. And I'm doing it for a customer right now. She's going to purchase a shampoo bar. So I'm giving her options on buying it through me. I'm giving her options on buying it from her on her own, and I'm giving her options to buy it locally. So really, helping to, be sort of like a concierge for people that want to continue to get better with every purchase, with every dollar. Vote with your dollars, right? That's the best way to keep companies that are doing it better in business, by supporting them with your money. So.
And I think that's so important, because there's a big, I think, gap even till today. It's gotten better, I think, from like when this whole organic revolution, as I like to nickname it, started like almost 20 years ago, where it's becoming more affordable, even social programs in our states. And I think that stems obviously from grassroots organizations and small businesses and outlets as like yourselves, where you have the resources of where to do it regardless of your pocket, making it affordable for everyone. And more importantly, there's an educational element. I always say it's a constant learning. I mean, myself, I was like, okay, what's kids free? What's that free? When I thought I was very well versed, I came to find out you're only partially versed, my dear. So this is really, really great. So guys, here's some just a quick share on some quick, easy 5 steps that you can do to make your home more sustainable and why. First one is, again, as I've mentioned, air purifiers is a big thing, and why it helps improve the air quality of our home. And we'll include a link to pretty much the Department of Environmental Studies on why that is, to give you more some factual data behind air purifiers and what that is and how they help. I also believe that it's nice to we have Young Living, but you can use whatever humidifier. But to Angelina's point, it's not that much whether you have a $10 or $20 or 151. It's what you put inside of it. To Angelina's point earlier. So it's all essential oils are not created equal. And you can definitely go to Organic Good Market and check out, or email Angelina. We'll have the link to all that below on the bottom of this email. If you want some tips on where to go, you can also email us on where some of our favorite ones, which a lot of them are the same ones that our Organic Good Market uses, on where to find like some nice essential oils. Because now with the mind, body, and working from home, and our kids working from home, we just need a little aroma to like add to the clean air. And also, guys, it's a positive environmental impact. That's just the reality. Like I said, whatever your take is on global and climate change, excuse me, it's a real thing. We see it today. And even if you're a skeptic on it, why not? As Angelina highlighted, only 7% of plastic, which I was shocked at that number. I really thought it was way more, is recycled. So as much as you're like, oh, if I have this Poland Spring, it's going to get recycled. Well, guess what? Probably not. And I'll leave a link actually to this really good documentary, which I'm sure you've seen a slew of them. I think National Geographic's, I could be wrong, but I'll source it and find it included on the plastic. This part of one, I want to say it's the Northeast, on the Pacific Northeast, where you see a lot of the world's plastic ends up, how it moves and it transcends throughout our oceans. It's very sad. And again, we reduce the use of natural resources. And Angelina will share 2 quick tips also on the why or the how, on why it is important also to go greener. And of course, supporting a small business, but that comes as a result. If you want to share, Angelina, some of your tips on.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm, really big on rationing and trying to only, when I cook, I really try to do a great job at estimating, like, how much am I going to make so we are full, but that we don't have any leftovers. And so I'm just trying to be very frugal and we're very aware of that. And of course, a lot of our, scraps too, can really be used. A lot of times I'm the first one to throw, the end of a carrot into the compost bin, but also now I started freezing some of those items and I use them as a base for a soup. Yeah. And then I strain it out, so it's really interesting how you can, think outside the box. And I'm really big about just doing audits. What am I buying all the time? Let me look at this product. Does every part agree with me? Is there the cookies that my daughter likes? Why is there a plastic container separating all the cookies in there? Can I, do a little bit better? Can I contact the company to see how I can buy bulk with plasticless? And so those are some major things for me that have helped. So waste less, ration, and buy product, not packaging. Try to figure out how much you need so you can get it less often. So.
Right. No, absolutely. And we're big here, as we've shared some of in our Rear Kitchen Live, on how to meal plan, to your point. How, like you said, the top, the head of the carrot is great. You can use it like, and also on an, even if you don't want to go that route, you know what? We all know that our kids are in that elementary grammar school range and they start doing projects. And the first thing they said is stick some toothpicks in like your celery bark to make it grow again. Obviously, if you have the space, you're not going to be like every single food, but you'd be surprised how just a week's worth of groceries, all those strawberries, all those heads, plant them, go online. HGTV, I found it to be a very good resource. But there's so many, even just YouTube, guys, or go on Rear Chats, and I'm sure one of our guests, like Angelina, will show you how to do it. And you can go on and create a little planter at home, even if you have a small space, or if you're your home size and you have the backyard and your space permits, you can have your own little indoor garden or outdoor garden. So there's so many ways to be sustainable on using, even with our foods, where you can then regenerate and create and grow something, and so many ways to do that. Swap our house food cleaners, as we mentioned earlier. There's, again, so many separate ways. We'll include the link to all of the tips and reiterate those tips again today for all of you to view. We'll have the link. You can find Organic Market on all social media platforms, correct? Twitter?
Yes, so we're on, pretty much where everyone else is, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And organicgoodmarket.com is our site, and the homepage has a link to all of our social media platforms. And yeah, so follow along, and thanks for, having me today.
No, thank you for your time, for your knowledge, for creating, for making your advocacy, like you're totally putting you're not just preaching it, you're doing it. And I think that's so important, because I think that even when we say, oh, it's the small things, they don't really count. No, we've come to realize, if you've learned anything from this whole fiasco, that, or even prior, that every little bit counts. And everyone's making a difference, even in the smallest of ways, or educating someone in the smallest of ways can make a big impact. Like this chat. So Angelina, thank you so much to you, to your team at Organic Good Market. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing us these amazing products. We love it. We're obsessed, and I'm going to close with that. We love them all, but I love the body wash. The lemongrass is fantastic. It's great. And Angelina already knows we already have ordered our 5-gallon, because as a mother of 2 boys and my husband, we are a family of 4, honey. And we are like a shower every 2 days, like every day. And like, we're just Caribbean. So it's like insane. Like, we take a million baths in this house, like in the summer months. The lavender, the lavender soap is fantastic. Leap. This is another great brand that they carry, guys. I don't know if you see it. I know that I'm trying to do this. Leap is awesome. I know that, Fyve, is that how you pronounce it? Fyve. Excuse my French.
Five. Yeah.
I really liked it. I tried their cleansing butter, their body butter, yesterday, and I love that. I'm a big body butter person. I use coconut oil, which I know you guys also carry. So there's definitely, check out Organic Good Market. It's easy. If you're in the tri-state area, if you're in northern New Jersey, they can contactless deliver that to your home. Contactless for northern New Jersey, Hudson, Bergen County, if I'm correct. Yeah. But if not, they can ship it to you guys. So again, Organic Good Market, www.organicgoodmarket.com. Again, they're on all the social medias platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, we'll include the link to the sites, to all the information, including to some of the links and places where you can find if your products are cruelty or any of the meet all the standards, to make sure that you're having a safe and good and quality product in your home. And I'll include also a link of some of my personal favorite air purifiers for your home, and some other tips as well from Real Simple, as we are Real Simple insiders. So thank you so much, Angelina, again. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Rear Chats, episode 2 of Rear Chats Home Edition, guys. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay strong, and most importantly, stay organized.